When Dreame recently announced the release of the L40 Ultra Gen 2, I was pretty excited as the L40 Ultra that I reviewed about a year ago on my channel was one of my favorite robots, and it was a pretty popular review. Now, with the L40 Ultra Gen 2, things have changed quite a bit, and I plan to go over those changes in this video. My excitement was quickly dashed when I realized that Dreame has done a lot to actually remove some features and functionality. It's not all downgrades though, there are a few upgrades with the Gen 2, and so let's go ahead and dive into those. But first, my name is Jamie Andrews and I review all types of robots on my YouTube channel. I test the claims of the manufacturer, put them through a rigorous amount of testing, and bring you the honest pros and cons for each model. Okay, let's start first with the robots themselves, and let's start with the upgrades. The biggest upgrade is the Pascal rating. The Gen 1 was rated at 11,000 pascals, and the Gen 2 is rated at 25,000 pascals. As a Pascal rating is a measurement that does directly impact the ability to vacuum, but there are more factors than just the Pascal rating, so keep that in mind. Another upgrade that Dreame is touting is with the battery life. They claim that this gets a decent bit more battery life. Now they test it in quiet mode, so just keep that in mind. When they're testing it, they're only testing it in vacuum only mode. When I do my test, I test in standard vacuum mode, and I do it in vacuum and mop mode, with about 25% of my test being carpet. And importantly, I run it until the battery goes all the way dead and returns to the dock to recharge, which is usually around 10%. Now, Dreame's claim on this is 232 minutes in vacuum only and in quiet mode versus 194 minutes on this. Now, when I did my review of this, I wasn't doing my full test for battery life. I will be putting this through a battery life test so that when you look at the review of this, you will know whether or not that claim is true. The next upgrade is matter support. So if that makes a difference to you or not, the old one does not have matter support and the new one does. Now the next pro is a fairly large one, and that is the MSRP price for the new Gen 2. When this launched, it had an MSRP of $14.99 US. It's quite steep and actually competes today with the X lineup. This one has a launch price of MSRP of $649.99, so more than half of the price than this was when it launched. So that's a pretty big deal. Now, I will say that when this launched, you could get it at launch for a couple $100 off, so around $12.99. And right now, I think they've got this for $100 off, so $549. Still a pretty big difference in price, and I'll tell you my thoughts on that a little bit later in this video. And as far as upgrades, that's going to be it. So let's go ahead and move into the things that Dreame removed from the Gen 2 that was included on the Gen 1. And I think the biggest impactful feature that they removed was with the object avoidance system. You see the Gen 1 had the AI action, which is a single structured light sensor with a camera here on the front, and it aced my object avoidance test, meaning I didn't have any issues with it. It looks like it has a camera on the front, but it's actually a structured light sensor. And that basically sends out a spray of light, and then there's a little small pinhole. I don't even think it's a color. I think it's just a black and white, very small resolution camera that kind of reads how that light reflects off of objects, and that's how it can tell if there's an object in the path of the robot. You see, LiDAR can only see above the deck lid, so any objects that fall below the deck lid, object avoidance is there to pick up those so that it won't run over them. Think about like pet waste, cords, socks, anything else you can think of, and I'd say that's probably the biggest thing that is as far as functionality. I'm going to leave a list right here on the screen of all the features that get removed when you remove the RGB camera. It's not just improved object avoidance that you're missing. It also removes a whole slew of other features. The next thing they removed is the voice assistant, which may or may not be a big deal for you. There is one benefit to removing it. See, the voice assistant was kind of an add-on. It made the LiDAR dome taller. There's 3 microphones here. That's where you didn't need to connect it to your home assistants. You could just call the robot itself and tell it to do some basic commands. That's been removed on the Gen 2. Benefit is while the body is the same height, the LiDAR turret is a bit slimmer, so it should be able to get into a little bit harder to reach areas. One other downgrade is with the side brush. Dreame took away the ability for you to turn off the side brush on carpets. You can toggle that on and off here. Also, as you see, the side brush does have the ability to lift on the Gen 1, whereas on the new one, there is no lifting side brush. All right, for the robots, as far as things that are the same, the dustbins are the same. Really, the body's the same. Flipping it over on the underside, the mop pads, there is one change with that. I'll go over that here in just a few minutes. But the roller brush housing is the same. Carpet detection sensor, same number of cliff sensors. It's really pretty much so the same under here. Now, one thing that I like about the single roller is Dreame produces this, and I think this is one of the best inventions that Dreame has made, and probably one of the best inventions for robot vacuums in general. It is their tri-cut brush, and it functions with both bristles and rubber. There are 2 different sides to this. And these grooves here, as hair gets wrapped around the roller brush, there's a blade that cuts the hair. It's down in here. And so you won't get hair wrapped around this. You will get a little bit of hair wrapped around the axle on one side. I never see it really on this side, but on this side you will get a bit of hair, but it's really easy to just slide right off without much fuss and without having to remove ends. So this is compatible. It doesn't ship with the new one. It would be nice if they included this on the new model. It ships with the same all rubber roller brush, which can get hair wrapped around it pretty easily, and especially on the axles. But for about, I think, $50, you can add this tri-cut brush. I'm a pretty big fan of it. You'll have to wait for my full review. I will be testing this with both the rubber and the tri-cut brush and providing the test results, so you can decide whether or not you think this is a good investment for you. I'll go ahead and leave a link to this down in the description. If you already have the L40 Ultra Gen 1, you're watching this video because you're trying to decide if you want to upgrade. If you don't already have this, I'd say it's worth purchasing, especially for the Gen 1. For the Gen 2, well, I'm not going to give you my results just yet. You'll have to wait for the full review video. But that is good that this is still compatible with the new version. Okay, aesthetically the docks look very similar, same shape. Things here and below, though, do get a bit different. The first downgrade is that Dreame is not shipping this with a detergent tank. One was included on the Gen 1, and as you can open this up and put Dreame's detergent or whatever detergent you like in here, and it will wash the mop pads when it goes back to the dock with that detergent. You can, however, purchase that tank. I'll leave a link in the description. I think it's like $40 US. And if you put the tank in here, if you purchase it, you can put the tank in here and it will work with this unit. Now there are a good bit of differences here in the dock sink. Some good, some maybe good, maybe bad, and some not so good. So let's start with the obvious change, which is in the Gen 1, we had this a dock tray design, this spinning wiper system that would help keep this area clean, but you still needed to clean here under the filter, and the filter is right here. And this is also a bit of a task to clean this. It's just a lot of nooks and crannies to get in, but you do need to do some maintenance here. Over here, this has the new Ace Clean dry board system. Essentially, it uses, so over here on the old one, water gets released from the dock with these two nozzles, and it comes down these two paths right here and makes contact with the mop pads. The mop pads spin and they scrub on these surfaces here. That's what actually cleans the mop pad. On the Ace Clean system, which has been featured, it was introduced on the X50, some recently reviewed X60, and a few other robots. The Ace Clean system uses a series of water nozzles, high pressure water nozzles, to kind of like a pressure washer, spray the mop pads. And this flat surface here is designed that when the mop pads go around, the mop pads are actually cleaning this area. It does a really good job of keeping this area really clean. All of the dirty water and the debris goes into this large removable filter here, which you will need to remove every so often and clean. And like the previous one, you still need to clean in this area here, which this is the drain where all the dirty water and debris that makes it through the filter will end up. What I do is I wait for this to get dry. I'll use a vacuum and vacuum out the dirt and debris, and then I'll take a wet cloth and wipe this area out, which is very important to keep that maintained. Now, I will be testing the mop cleaning ability on my full review, and I'll let you know whether this system is better or worse. And keep in mind, there's not going to be any detergent here because I'm not going to test this with the detergent tank. I'm going to test it just as it comes without detergent. And so I do have the results from the old one, and I'll let you know in my review video if this is a better system for cleaning the mops. One thing the Gen 1 has, well, there's two things the Gen 1 has that the Gen 2 doesn't. And here, these are magnetic posts. These give you the ability, when the robot goes back to the dock, it can remove the mop pads and leave them behind. I featured that on several of my reviews of other Dreame models. The benefit there is that if you have a mixture of carpets and hard floors in your home, the robot, and when it goes to go clean carpet, vacuum carpet, it can leave the mop pads behind. If the mop pads are wet, that means that you don't have to worry about your carpets getting wet. They have removed that on the Gen 2. There are no magnetic posts here. So the second downgrade is with the removal of the hot water mop washing. Now, honestly, hot water mop washing isn't terribly effective unless you're dealing with grease. If you're dealing with grease, it is fairly effective. The hot water on this didn't really wow me. I think it stayed above 120 degrees for all of maybe 10 or 20 seconds, but it was still a feature that has been removed from the Gen 2. Alright, so if you made it this far in the video, first, thanks. I appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, as the review will be out for this, I'd say probably in the next few days. I will also link my original view to this, although you can't buy this new from Dreame anymore. It's been replaced by this. I know you can get it refurbed on eBay, Amazon, and other sellers at a pretty good price. I've seen it for around $400 or $500. Of course, with refurb, it's not a new product, so that may not be for you. But if you're here and you're aggravated that Dreame has removed a bunch of features, I want to change your perspective for just a minute. First, I think it was the biggest mistake here is calling this an L40 Ultra Gen 2. I wouldn't even be making this video if they called this something else. The fact that they called it an L40 Gen 2 is really the whole problem, and the thing I see people complaining about the most, the fact that they took so many features from this. So again, we're talking about a totally different price point for these units. At $649 at launch versus $1499, I mean, they're not even the same class of robot. And I have already tested this, so even if you're not interested, you should watch my review video, because you might find some surprising things out about this right here, especially for this price point. So the person that was shopping for this at above $1,000 might be a different person or somebody with different needs than the person shopping for a $600 robot vacuum. So to me, that's the whole issue, is the fact that they called this a Gen 2 to begin with. I wouldn't even be making this video if they just called it something else. Now, the L40 lineup in itself, I have tested, I have a few of them actually, but if you are wanting a camera on your robot for object avoidance and everything that brings, there's the L40 AE. It does have a camera, and that means it's going to have great object avoidance. I think there's a robot or two in the L10 series that have the single camera. So if object avoidance is important to you, just keep that in mind, that there's only a few models in the L series that have a camera, which is going to give you all those extra features and great object avoidance. All right, if you have any questions or any thoughts, does it aggravate you that they called this an L40 Gen 2, or do you really mind? If you have the Gen 1, I'd like to know how it's been treating you. Have you had any issues, any problems with it? Are you watching this because you're considering upgrading to this and you're not really sure what to do? Make sure, even though you're like turned off by the fact that this has many things removed, I encourage you to watch my review video, as there are quite a few surprising things that are going to come out of that review. Until then, I hope everybody takes it easy and has a good one. Appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye, everyone.